Good morning to those in Madagascar, mainly good early morning to those in Madagascar and Mauritius and Reunion. Today we're going to be discussing Invest 97S, which will soon be named Fytia, likely within the next day or two. We'll also be discussing, of course, other tropical cyclones across the globe, but currently our main focus is going to be on Invest 97S. Let's see if this stream is working. There we go. Okay, yeah, it is working. Nice. Okay, is this public? Yes, it is. All right, there we go. So, just testing. Okay, Broly Meng, hello, how are you doing? All right, and again, if you have any questions about this, you can always comment on the Twitter post or the YouTube post, and I will do my best to answer them in the next update. So again, like I said, today we're going to be talking about this system, Invest 97S. It is currently in the Mozambique Channel, and it is expected to become a tropical cyclone before slamming into Madagascar, likely as a tropical storm or low-end Category 1. Then we'll move across Madagascar, and then move towards, I believe that is going to be I forget, Masaranas? That is going to be, sorry about that, let me just zoom in real quick. That's either Reunion or Mauritius. Let me just check. Okay, that's Reunion there on the southwestern island, and Mauritius on the northeastern side. Alright, so let's talk about the impacts that the system will bring. Well, for starters, in terms of Mozambique's impacts, they are expected to see at least marginal impacts, even some southeastern portions of Tanzania. That's, of course, going to be in the form of rain. The Comoros Islands as well in that marginal impact category. And majority of Madagascar is in the marginal impact category, excluding the southern portions and far northern portions of the country. And of course, Reunion is also in that marginal category as well, as it starts approaching it within the next 5 days. Could see some of those outer rain bands, or could see a direct strike with the system, as it could. I mean, it's in that cone of uncertainty within the next 5 days, so we can't rule that out entirely. It is quite uncertain what the system's going to be or what it will look like after it enters back out into the Southwest Indian Ocean, but that will be something we discuss over the next few days. Now, upping it to the slight impacts, there are slight impacts expected for the far northeastern portions of Mozambique. That's going to be in the form of rain. And there is going to be a corridor here across Madagascar that will be seeing slight impacts, mainly in the form of flooding, but some areas could be seeing it as well in the form of wind. Now, stepping it up to moderate impacts, there is going to be an area along the east central portion of Madagascar and also the far northwestern tip of Madagascar. And major impacts for flooding are expected for the far northwestern portion of Mahajanga province there in far northwestern Madagascar. That is, again, in the form of flooding. So let's talk about what that means. Major flooding, life-threatening flooding could be happening in vulnerable areas in those locations marked in red. Now, in terms of those areas marked in orange, flooding of neighborhoods and small rivers are possible, making some roads impassable. So these are the main areas we're going to be needing to watch out for flooding. Could see, unfortunately, a lot of fatalities on that northwestern portion, as it is quite populated. Mahajanga is located roughly right over here, so they are expected to see moderate impacts from the system, unfortunately. Now, in terms of timing, when could it be making landfall? Also, I've been seeing questions about what's the next name. I believe it's Fytia is going to be the next name once the system gets named. Anyways, it is expected to make a landfall within the next around, let's see, that'd be 12, 24, 36, 48. Within the next 60 hours, it will be making landfall. So in 2 to 2.5 days, it will likely be making landfall as a tropical storm. Could be a Category 1 at that point, depending on how quickly it wants to intensify. And we'll go over the environments shortly. So looking at the broad view of tropics right now, there's not a whole lot going on, but there is a system that could be impacting Western Australia in about a week, and the Philippines beyond a week. So let's discuss it. Starting off with the Western Pacific here, we have an area of interest here now with a 20% chance of development. That system will be meandering towards the Philippines, and we could see something out of this within the next 7 to 10 days approaching the Philippines. In the Southwest Indian Ocean, we of course have Invest 97S with an 80% chance of development over the next 48 hours and a 90% chance over the next 7 days. If it doesn't form over here, it's most likely going to be forming in the Southwest Indian Ocean after it passes through Madagascar. We also have Invest 96S with only a 10% chance of development, and that thing's going to be fizzling out fairly soon. In the Australian region, we have two disturbances here. There's one over here which could become a brief tropical cyclone, either just a tropical depression or a very weak tropical storm. But we also have this system here, this Australian system, which is also partially the remnants of another system that I forgot the number designation for. Anyways, this system is expected to meander westwards across Australia. Could see some brown ocean effect development, meaning it could develop over land. And then by the time it gets into or just north of Western Australia, it could become a powerful cyclone. I'm not going to rule that out. Some models and some ensembles do have it becoming a major cyclone. But fortunately, it looks like it's going to be staying north there. But again, it could be making a turn to the south, so that's why we're watching that system fairly closely. We also have 18P over here, which is becoming a pretty strong tropical storm for a system that's not named. That system is going to be speeding off to the southwest, and unfortunately is not going to be impacting anyone, and it's going to be weakening and should be dissipating over the next few days. We are currently code orange for Invest 97S, so we're doing video updates or live updates every 4 days. Now, I did want to mention, if any of you are in Madagascar or you know people from Madagascar or Reunion, Mauritius, Comoros, Mayotte, and Eastern Mozambique, please reach out to me on one of my social media platforms. You can let me know as well in the YouTube live chats, as I'm potentially going to be chasing internationally soon. So, if any of you guys know anyone from there, you can always hit me up on Instagram, Twitter, Discord, all those places. Anyways, looking at visible satellite imagery here, we can see a broad low-level circulation here. We can see it all circling around here. So it does have a closed low-level center. We have seen that on a scatterometer pass. But we can also see a lot of thunderstorms bursting over the center, and they're beginning to sustain. So we could see the system become a tropical cyclone over the next 6 to 12 hours, likely a tropical depression. And on infrared here, we can see all those thunderstorms bubbling up over the center. We'll just see. We'll just have to wait and see how long it sustains for. Now, in terms of the current environment right now, the sea surface temperatures are very warm for it. It's around 29 degrees Celsius, almost upwards of 30 degrees Celsius. And it's going to remain that's up until its landfall in Madagascar. And by the time it re-enters into the Southwest Indian Ocean, sea surface temperatures will be slightly cooler, but still favorable, around 28 to 29 degrees Celsius, then lowering down towards 27 beyond the 4-day range. In terms of model guidance, there isn't a whole lot of model guidance just yet, since it is just an invest at this point, and it's just recently became an investor. So anyways, the distance from certain locations, well, I mean, it is going to be meandering around this area. It's not going to be moving a whole lot over the next 24 hours. But beyond that, though, it is around 411 kilometers away from Mahajanga and around 230 kilometers away from where it could be making its landfall. Again, it's going to be a pretty slow mover over the next really 24 hours. It's not going to move a whole lot. Before then, it finally starts to speed up, and then it speeds up significantly by the time it enters back into the Southwest Indian Ocean. Let's see here. Now, in terms of models, we're mainly just going to be covering the European AI model on it. It does have it nearly as a tropical cyclone right now, and it does have it quickly developing into a solid tropical cyclone, nearly a Category 1 cyclone at that point. Very solid center there. And then it really kind of fizzles out as it moves through Madagascar there. It is going to be going through some mountainous terrain. The more north it goes, the more likely it will be able to sustain some sort of center by the time it re-enters in or emerges back over water. Then it could intensify again, reaching a secondary peak just to the southwest of Reunion there. This would be on, this would be on February 2nd. That would be on a Monday. Monday into Tuesday, really, for you all, and maybe even into Wednesday for those in Reunion in terms of possible impacts. It does look like it will stay to the south. But there is, of course, still the possibility it could go a little bit more on the northern side, just based off of uncertainty. After that, it will be then speeding off southeast out to sea, becoming a post-tropical cyclone. Now, in terms of ensemble guidance here, it does have it making landfall around, this would be on the 31st. So it looks like around Saturday. And this would be mainly for you all in Saturday morning-ish, Saturday afternoon-ish, making landfall there. Some of those ensemble members do have it nearing a Category 2 peak. Some of them have it as a Category 1, but a majority of them have it as just a strong tropical storm. Then moves across Madagascar, re-enters over water, then gets pretty close to Reunion. You can see some of those ensemble members do have it moving over the island of Reunion. So I'm not going to discount that as a possibility just yet. But overall, the center of it does have it staying to the south. Before then, of course, speeding off towards the southeast. Now let's see if we. Now let's look. Are there any questions about the system and other systems? Let's get into it. Alright, did not expect that, bro. I thought it would be a dud. I noticed a while back that the Google AI Ensemble members were showing this, so that's how I've kind of paid attention to it. And I saw that the European AI model also really did a solid job of it quickly developing and detecting it's going to be hitting Madagascar. So I did see this a couple days out. Let's see here. How many storms in the South Pacific now? The fact that none of them have names, which is absurd. I don't know how many storms we've had there just yet, but in terms of internationally, we've had around 14 tropical cyclones so far, which is not a bad number. All right, let's see what other questions. All right, well, it seems that that's about it. Well, I did want to say thank you all so much for 6,000 subscribers. I really appreciate it. Can't believe I hit that before my birthday. We'll try to aim for, I don't know how many before the end of the year. Maybe 10,000 by the end of the year is probably what I'll shoot for. But that's a long goal, okay? And I'm hoping we can get it, but I really don't want other tropical cyclones to be hitting other areas. Anyways, the next update on this system will likely be in around, let's see, if we were to do another update, it'd probably be in around 4 days or so, maybe even 2 days, just depending on how popular this gets, especially on that YouTube post I made. Well, thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you all in the next updates. Stay safe.